Well, the territorial dispute dating back to World War II will be one of the top items on the agenda when Russian President Vladimir Putin meets Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The Soviet Union took the four southernmost Kuril Islands during the final days of the war, and because of that, the two countries still haven't signed a peace treaty. But there's been a push to solve the disagreement and get relations back to normal. Last year, the leaders agreed to speed up talk based on a proposal to return two of the islands to Japan. Well, let's get more on this now from Sejiro Takeshita, who's the dean at the School of Management and Information at the University of Shizuoka. He joins us now from Shizuoka. Thanks so much for speaking to us. So from the Japanese perspective, tell us why Shinzo Abe wants the dispute over these islands finally resolved in this meeting.
Well, this has been dwelling on for quite a long time, and obviously, considering the fact that Mr. Putin and the Russian side want to utilize the fact that there's a bit of a discord between the United States and the rest of the world, Japan included. Obviously, this is a very good chance for him to start cementing a better relationship with Japan. So certainly, I think it's a move from Mr. Putin that wants to utilize the negativity and the wrongdoings that you've been seeing by Mr. Trump and his regime.
Okay, but how hard is Russia going to fight to keep these islands? They've had them since the end of World War II, and there are now protests on Russian soil to make sure Russia does not cede any territory to Japan.
Well, let's get some reality checks here. It's pretty obvious in my eyes that they will not budge the two islands where there's already an Air Force base, etc. They're saying they will give back two. But if you look at the Japanese side, the fact of the matter is it's 4 or nothing. If Mr. Abe budgets to 2, then that would be seen as a very big compromise, and that would be a very big negativity for his ratings in Japan. So in my opinion, there's not much of a benefit for getting the two islands, although some people are suggesting it's a start. If you look at the reality, the fact of the matter is that Russia will never let go of the two islands where there already is an Air Force base. So obviously, what you're going to see is a parallel, and what they will decide, they will agree on, is that they disagree, as usual. But there will be a lot of, I would say, gestures of meltdowns and considerations of further talks, etc., which certainly is not seen as a negative thing, especially as Japan's right now. The first threat is certainly not Russia, but more to China.
So honestly, what are the chances that this meeting will actually reach a resolution for this decades-old dispute? It almost sounds like when you say agree to disagree, they know they're not going to finalize
Absolutely.
anything. Yeah.
To answer your question, the answer is 0. And I have a very, very strong, feeling that that will certainly be the case. I cannot think of a scenario that both party will basically, either party will basically nudge towards the other. You look at it from a political point of view, or especially from the military point of view. And what I think Mr. Putin is cleverly trying to do is get some, association from the Japanese side now that the relationship with the U.S. is, cooling down, at least on the trade side. So possibly he's trying to have some influence on the military side. And for Mr. Abe, maybe things have come into a bit of a detente, considering the fact that it's been over many, many years. And if we're getting 2, it's better than nothing. But I think that would be a very dangerous trap for Mr. Abe to fall into, because then the fact of the matter is it's 4 or nothing for most of the Japanese. So I think it will unfortunately end up in a lot of talks, but talks reconfirming the gap that exists between us, between Japan and Russia.
Okay, Sejiro Takeshita, thank you so much for joining us there from Shizuoka. Now, the online messaging service WhatsApp is starting a new function